Alright, today we're tying a Renegade. This is Steve from Smitty's Fly Box. So this is just a number 10 dry fly hook, and I'm using brown thread. We'll attach our thread and carefully wrap that thread along the hook there, over the top, away from us. We can clip off the excess. Okay, now let's take our thread back to our tie-in point just above the barb of the hook. And we're going to put a little gold tag on there on the rear end of this fly. So I just have some gold flashabou here, and I'm going to tie in one strand very carefully, and we're just going to make a few wraps there just around the bend slightly of this hook, and that just gives it a little attraction there. Not totally necessary for this fly, but it's a step you could leave out if you'd like. But the original Renegade has this gold tag around the back there. Alright, now we're ready for our hackle. So our thread should be at our tie, just in front of our tie-in point, and we're going to use some brown hackle. Now the key to any dry fly and hackle use is we want to make sure we select the correct size of hackle. So I like to just take my hackle like that, and I can measure the length of the barbs, and they should extend just past the hook point there. And then if you take your hackle here and you look, you have the top side, and the hackle barbs will angle down to the underside right there. Okay, so let's tie this in so the top side is facing us. I'm just going to strip some of this stem down here and give me something that I can tie on there. So I have the top of the feather facing me. I know it's a little confusing, and I can tie down that stem there, and I'm going to take my thread, advance it just barely above the point of the hook there, and now as I wrap this hackle, the front of the feather should be facing forward, and I can make cleaner, neater wraps with my hackle. My hackle will lay how it should, and we're going to make 5 or 6 turns up to our thread, and then we can tie it off. Hold our hackle straight up in the air. With our left hand, drop our thread over about 3 times, and that'll tie down that hackle. And now we can come in here and snip that hackle. You might have a few strays out the front. I'm not going to worry too much about those. We can pull those back out of the way if we need to. Alright, let's take our thread about 2/3 up the hook shank, and that's where we're going to tie in some peacock feathers. So I've just selected 3 strands of peacock. If you want it a little thinner, you can just do 1 or 2 strands. Let's just even up those butts there that I stripped in there. Alright, I'm not going to try to tie it down back there because that's a little tight, so let's just lay it down again up here at the 2/3 spot, and I can secure that in, and now I'll tie down that peacock all the way back to the base of my brown hackle where that ended, and let's turn right around and bring our thread to that 2/3 spot and let that hang there. And now we can wrap the peacock over the top away from us, and just working our way forward to our thread. Our thread should be there waiting for us, and now I can tie that off. Same step, hold it with my right hand, drop my thread over with my left hand about 3 times. Now one of the bad things about peacock is it is fairly brittle and it can break and tear, so I like to just take my thread and just spiral wrap back through over that peacock, and it doesn't really mat it down, but it'll make it a lot more durable. So, and then let's make sure our thread ends up at that 2/3 spot. Alright, now we're ready for our white hackle in the front, and we'll repeat those same steps. I've got the top of the feather, so I want the top of the feather facing me. Let's strip some of this stem down and carefully come in there and secure that stem in nice and tight. Got a little bit hanging out the front. I'm going to just pop that off because I don't want to crowd my head. That's a common mistake. Now as I wrap that hackle, it should be laying nice and pretty how it should there, and we'll just try to make nice clean wraps going forward, about the same amount, about 5 turns. And now we can tie off that hackle. Three times. Let's come in there very carefully and pop off that stem. Alright, now you may have a bunch of whiskers sticking out. So let's just take our 3 fingers here and let's pull everything back. And just try to make a nice clean head, maybe tie down any little nubs that we have there. And this is why I like 8/0 thread. I can come in there and make a bunch of good wraps and really control that thread how I like it. And then I have enough room there now to do my whip finish without grabbing any of those pieces of hackle. Add a little head cement. And there's a Renegade.